Yeah, what can I do for you, Rod? You just tell me, what can I do for you?
It's a very personal, very important thing. Hell, it's a family motto. Are you ready, Jerry?
I'm ready.
Just want to make sure you're ready, brother. Here it is. Show me the money.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Cat. I've been on the come up, running to the ones go. Boy, I got that one up, hustle when the funds low. Sundown to sun up, all I want is the cash. Now homie, run me the stash, put the ones in the bag. Now count up, count up, count up, count up. I'm talking 1 milli, 2 milli, 3 milli, 4 billy, 5 billy, I'm illy. I've been on the come up, counting money till my thumbs hurt. No Birdman, bitch, but I'm a stunner. Just watch how you run up. I keep a couple gunners. I've been grinding all winter just to flex all over summer shit. Wrist cold when I fall through. Rose go to my arm, boo. In and out of my city, but come whenever I call you. Who gon' love me more than when I'm stacking out on tour? Them hoes that made it past security, they knocking on my door. You gon' be there when they gone. Show my love by getting more. Hustle so you ain't alone. You won't leave me, that's for sure. I'm talking Benjis, Franklin's, all these hundos on my floor. I just broke a couple bands, believe me, I've been going hard. I'm tipping bottle after bottle, swerving model after model. Who won't cash? That's the motto. Spend it like I hit the lotto. Yeah, I'm loving my life. I know that I ain't shit without you. Actions speak louder than words. They broke cause they just talk about you, huh? I've been on the come up, running to the ones go. Boy, I got that one up, hustle when the funds low. Sundown to sun up, all I want is the cash. Now homie, run me the stash, put the ones in the bag. Now count up, count up, count up, count up. I'm talking 1 milli, 2 milli, 3 milli, 4 billy, 5 billy, I'm illy. Money bag after money bag, I'm the man now. Play the cards that I was dealt and I ain't need no handouts. Fresh on every set, get respect, mama out of debt. Got a new connect, we the best, homie run the check. Wifey got a new bag, new house, you mad? We just doing us, feeling wavy, fuck a do-rag. This that no stress flow, bobbing on my ex. She don't love cash, kiss my ass, baby XO. Thank you for that line, Mr. West, but I'm next though. Hey, you me the said, bitch, I'm blessed, sipping XO. For the love of money, I stay fucking hungry. I parted ways with the kitchen, that just wasn't for me. Every show they love me, now I'm showing love back. They ain't taking nothing from me, so I throw a couple stacks. You when I'm in your town, have some fun, blow a pack. Fuck with me when I'm around, trust me, shorty, I'll be back, huh? I've been on the come up, running to the ones go. Boy, I got that one up, hustle when the funds low. Sundown to sun up, all I want is the cash. Now homie, run me the stash, put the ones in the bag. Now count up, count up, count up, count up. I'm talking 1 milli, 2 milli, 3 milli, 4 billy, 5 billy, I'm illy.
Hello, hello, hello. Is anyone home, home, home? Hello. Fucking dude.
What's up? What's up? What's up, everybody? What's up, sports world? Y'all know what it is. Andre the Source Robinson, the Fire Starter, is in the building. Monday Night Madness on your ones and twos right now with the Alphabets Football Talk Show matchup. Y'all know what we've been doing the last couple of weeks. It's draft season. It's NFL 2025 season. That mother starts immediately when the free agency and NFL draft period starts. That's the start of the season. Y'all know what it is. I got my guys on here from the Alphabets Football Talk Show. He is Mr. Friday Night Lights, hailing from El Paso, Texas, the Mr. Alphabets himself, a.k.a. Mr. Coffee Talk himself, Marcus the Alphabets. What's good, my guy?
What's good, man? We're doing this again, week 2. You know, we did this last week, first 10 picks. We're gonna jump back into it again and do picks 11 through 20 tonight, and just keep it going. And then we'll do another show next week. And I mean, you just see how fast this stuff happens. Just a couple of months ago, we were looking at the Super Bowl, Combine. Now we're at the draft. Then you're going to be looking at OTAs. Next thing you know, it's preseason, and we're ready for live fire. So it's just good to be back and doing. You know, this is what we do. You know, I'm a football show. I don't do all the other stuff. That's your thing. You know, I know you do hockey and baseball and the football season, so it's good to be back doing football. So, what are we? 11 days away?
Yes,
11 days away from the draft. So here we go. Let's do it.
11 days away. Speaking of which, somebody who feels like he's 11 days away, I swear, this guy used to hail and reside right here on the east coast of things. Now he's on the west coast of things. He's in the Pacific Northwest. My guy who shoots off like nobody else, Mr. Off the Richter Scale itself, William Richter in the building. What's good, Will?
How's it going, everyone? Nice to see everybody. Nice to check in again this week. I'm looking forward to seeing what everybody's putting on and looking forward to seeing what kind of nonsensical picks that some of these people are going to be putting out here, and we'll go from there. We'll see what it looks like.
Almost choked. You said nonsensical, sir? Did you say nonsensical? Yo, I almost choked. I almost literally choked on nothing when you said that. Marcus the Alphabet. Right here, right now, before we get these picks started, does William Richter have the right to mention nonsensical picks? Do he? You can be honest, Marcus. You can be honest, Marcus. You have the right. You done froze up, Marcus. I cannot with you. You don't unfreeze yourself. You can be honest, Marcus. There he is. Now you done unfroze.
Hey, if that's the word he wants to use, nonsensical. I see a lot of nonsensical stuff every day.
There it is. All right. With that being said, shout out to everybody that's tuned in. Make sure you like and share the show. Marcus the Alphabets isn't going to be frozen in about T-minus 5 seconds. Will Richter over here with the Cheshire Cat smile over here. He's looking like he's ready for these next 10 picks, starting off with the San Francisco 49ers at number 11. We'll also talk WNBA stuff later on, but I want to get right to this NBA draft right now. I want to get right to the NFL draft right now. All right. So, without ado, you guys are on the clock. All right. You are on the clock.
Mr. Show Host, it's your lead.
Start off with William Richter for the San Francisco 49ers. You're on the clock.
This is a tough one because you look at the Niners and we do a quick review back and we look at some of the people that come off the board. You've got the standard names like Cam Ward and Ashton Genty and Travis Hunter and Shador Sanders has come off for some of us. Jelon Walker's come off for a few. Will Johnson has come off a few. So we're kind of trying to figure out where these guys are going. And with San Francisco needing D-line, edge, O-line, running back, and cornerback, and I'm looking here, and I'm going, I don't have a specific tackle on the board for me personally. There's a tackle missing on the board that hasn't been picked yet, and so with San Francisco in the 11th pick, I'm going to make sure that they get their tackle to replace Trent Williams, who's aging ever so quickly. And I'm going to go with Will Campbell, the tackle out of LSU, because he's still on my board.
Wow, William. Last week, find Will. You know what? You better be lucky. You better be lucky, sir. You better be lucky,
Why?
Sir, that I actually do this. Look at this. Look at here. Look at here, sir. Look at here. You see that?
He slips just out of just out of the top 10 for me. He slips out of just outside the top 10 for me, but I think he lands at a perennial winner where he can be successful.
So that is your pick.
That is my pick.
What happened to that alphabet?
He's having a moment with the internet. So he's working on it.
Is he having a moment? He's really having a moment right now?
Yeah.
Marcus?
What about your pick? What about your pick, Torch? Who you got at 11?
Man, listen. I really didn't even want to give Marcus these picks because I didn't feel like I did my very best with these picks. I didn't feel like I was up to snuff with the picks. At number 11, I felt like the 49ers need to fix their defense. They've been based upon defense for a while. It's been the cornerstone for majority of the time with the San Francisco 49ers as far as having a good defensive line, having good linebackers, having some decent safety and corner play with the San Francisco 49ers. But what is most important is in the trenches. I decided that the 49ers need to go ahead and get my man Walter Nolan, defensive line, early. Get him off the board.
Yeah, you don't want Philadelphia drafting him at 32 or anything.
Get him off the board. We're gonna get him right now. Screen, but there it is. All right, but there it is. Walter Nolan. All right.
There
from Ole Miss. That's my guy at number 11. Now,
so I'm
glad that we have Mr. Freeze. Flash. I'm sorry. Alphabets, Bruce Wayne, Superman, whatever you want to call him. I'm glad that you're back in the fold, Marcus the Alphabets. and now you're not frozen. I thought maybe we was gonna have to have a problem in Gotham. I was gonna have to send that SOS bat signal after you to get you back. Now, Michael the Alphabet, it's your turn, sir. You are on the clock at number 11 for the San Francisco 49.
Well, here's the thing about San Francisco. San Francisco can go a lot of different ways. We saw a mass exodus of a lot of players leaving there this offseason. Losing a guy like, they lost guys at several layers of their defense. They had went out and made a trade for, they picked up Javon Hargrave from the Eagles a couple of years ago on the defensive line. They thought he'd be a playmaker. They lost Dre Greenlaw, one of their playmaking linebackers. They lost all-pro safety Hufanga, the Troy Polamalu lookalike. And then you have some guys that are getting a little bit older over there. They really could have went a bunch of different ways, offense, defense, and then it seems like they're happy with Brock Purdy. I asked all my San Francisco fans repeatedly, you want to pay Brock Purdy $55 million? Every time I ask them that, they get a little bit quiet. But what I did for them is I gave them what many people think with Will Campbell already being off the board. I gave them Kelvin Banks Jr., offensive tackle from the Texas Longhorns. I think that he and a lot of other people too, what I see is kind of like the consensus number 2 offensive tackle here. This is when you're starting to think about life after Trent Williams. I think Trent Williams is a future first ballot Hall of Famer, probably one of the best left tackles that's played in recent memories. They got to start preparing for life without him. I think he's 36 years old now. I think maybe this year you put Kelvin Banks Jr. on the left side, on the right side. You let Trent stay at the left side, and then next year you switch Banks over to the left side, because I think this might be Trent Williams last year. So I like this kid. I watched a lot of them. I'm a big Texas Longhorn fan living here in Texas. So I went with offensive line help here, even though I think they could go a bunch of different ways. I think you could very easily see them trade down. Now, we don't do the trade downs here, but I went with the trenches for them. Kelvin Banks Jr., offensive tackle, Texas Longhorns.
Perfect. Marcus, I went offensive tackle as well, just to give you a heads up, so we're all on the same board. I gave him Will Campbell because Will Campbell was still on my board. I gave Kelvin Banks earlier to the Jaguars, and Torch gave Walter Nolan to the Niners.
Okay, and see that's that could be your Javon Hargrave's replacement there. So, like I said, they could go a bunch of different ways. They could go. I think they could go wide receiver if a guy like Ted McMillan was there.
I could even see like corner or safety. The 2 safeties are out of value at this point because they're outside the top 10. Now they're in that window where I would be willing to take either one of the safeties or even one of the corners if one of the 2 corners that are up the top.
Wide receiver, wide receiver after losing a guy like Deebo Samuel. Running back, if a guy like Genty were to fall, I don't think he will, but they could go in so many different directions there because they're an older team. This is a team that 2 years ago was in the Super Bowl, and now they didn't even make the playoffs this year. So we'll see what happens. So that's it. Pick 11, jumping over pick 12. Let's jump over to pick 12.
The Dallas Cowboys are on the clock.
My Cowboys. Another team that I feel like could go a bunch of different directions. I don't really think that they the good thing with them is, and I've talked about this a little bit on Coffee Talk, they've filled a lot of holes through free agency, picking up former first-round pick, guys that were highly touted. They brought back a guy, former number 3 overall pick, Dante Fowler Jr. That's your DeMarcus Lawrence replacement. Going to get a guy like Kenneth Murray, a highly touted linebacker that they've seen a lot of with playing at OU. He was an OU alum. Peyton Turner, another edge rusher, first-round pick. Kyer Elam, that's your stopgap former first-round pick for Buffalo. Will, I'm sure y'all know a lot about this guy. Kind of ended things badly there. So they've gone out and tried to make it where they don't have to go and get somebody. Last year spent the first-round pick on Tyler Guyton, former OU tackle, moved him over to left tackle. So with me, I think for them, with the depth of running back, okay, and with Ashton Jeanty being off the board already, if Ashton Jeanty's there, I think they very easily would go. I think that they would run the card up there for Ashton Jeanty. I just don't see any scenario where Ashton Jeanty's there at 12. I don't see it. And I think Omarion Hampton, who's my number 2 back, I think that's a little bit too rich for him at 12. So I'm going to go get the best wide receiver. A lot of people, the consensus number 1 wide receiver. I'm going to give him Ted McMillan, a big 6'4.5". This guy. I hear the Mike Evans comparisons. I can't really give him that. He's 6'4.5". He's 220 pounds, more of a battle catcher. He's going to jump out of the stadium and grab the ball. He's not really an elite route runner. He's a good yak guy. And I just think as a compliment in today's game, you're only as good as your number 2 receiver. And if you look, the teams that have had success, they have multiple guys in the passing game on the perimeter that give you issues. You can't just have one guy, all-pro receiver. Okay, that's great in the regular season, but as you go to the playoffs, teams are going to take that away from you. We've seen this with different teams around the league for the past few years. A few years back, Stephon Diggs, outstanding, number 1 all-pro type receiver with Buffalo. Devontae Adams with the Green Bay Packers, have 120, 130 catches, nobody on the other side. CeeDee Lamb, 100-plus catches, 1,300 yards. But when you get up there in the playoffs, you got to have another guy. I think that Dallas needs a number 2 receiver or 1A, 1B. You need that type of receiver. I think he's a perfect complement to CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb's a small, a elite route runner, great hands. You got a guy now who's a little bit taller and can jump up and, high point the ball. So I gave him Ted McMillan here. I was surprised in my draft that he was still there, but I loved it. I think that they would be very happy to run up there and get this guy. I still think that running back is a big need, but I think that this is a very deep running back draft, and I can see them getting a guy in the 2nd round. So that's my pick, Ted McMillan. T-Mac.
For Dre, your call. You're next.
All right, folks, if you're just tuning in, this is Monday Night Madness, Alphabet's football talk show, mashup show. We are doing picks 11 through 20 tonight for the NFL draft, doing a mock draft. No switches, no extra stuff. This is just straight based off need. All right. Shout out to Perry Wilson. Shout out to Will Rich Jr., Blaze, Andrew, Chris Cunningham, Dwayne Woodley, all those guys that's watching. Everybody that's tuned in, we appreciate you for sure. Now, with that being said, now comes the time in the show where I got to tell Marcus the Alphabets that he does this at least one time a show. You ain't slick, man. I just want to put this out there right now. You ain't slick, man. Mr. Optimistic. You know what I just got out of all that you just said? Besides that, all I got is that Mr. Brightside should be the new theme music for the Dallas Cowboys. Mr. Brightside. Okay? Maybe they should make that your theme music, Mr. Optimistic. You're so damn optimistic. Oh, the good thing about this, shitty ass Dallas Cowboys last year. The good thing about this though is that they went in the draft and they went in free agency and they got all these guys So we really don't got to come up there and get these guys, all these other guys. We got Kyrie Elam, who's been a known short shot bust at first rounder. We went and dipped back into the ex-Dayton pool and went and got Dante Fowler Jr., who we already had, but, we let him go for some reason, and then we went back and got him again.
He had 10 and a half. Hang on. He had 2.5 sacks last year. It's not like
I know. He's a good player, but is he going to be a good player for the Dallas Cowboys, or y'all going to dump him again? Y'all going to dump him twice? This is going to be 2-time dumping? You going to dump him for the second time after the season? Marcus, if you don't get off that, oh, it's going to be so sweet and everything's going to be nice and shiny. Let me go up to the board and grab Ted McMillan, the best wide receiver in the draft. You would just love for that to happen, wouldn't you? That would be a Dallas Cowboys dream to have Ted McMillan up there with CeeDee Lamb and yours truly, your damn $60 million overrated quarterback in Dak Prescott. You would love to have another weapon up there, 6'4", 215. He can do what he do. He ain't the greatest route runner, but he gives off DK Metcalf vibes. That would be real cute, wouldn't it?
No, not DK Metcalf at all.
No, that better not. You don't
never heard. I would never compare. I would never compare Ted McMillan to DK Metcalf. That's a bad. That's
Are you saying? Are you saying that you don't want him to be DK Metcalf? Are you saying you don't want him to be DK Metcalf?
Well, I don't think he's. One, he's not physically DK Metcalf. One, he's not as fast. I think he's like a 4 or 5 guy, and he's about 15. He's about 15 pounds. DK Metcalf about 230 and some change. You seen DK Metcalf?
He's a punisher and a monster.
Yeah.
By the way, with all that being said, me and Marcus have the same pick.
Ted McMillan for you as well.
You said all of that to say the same thing as me.
We have the same thing. Only difference is Mr. Brightside over here. That's his nickname now for the show. Mr. Brightside over here, Marcus the Alphabet. The Dallas Cowboys are good. They're in a good position. You know what? William, go ahead, man, because I'm going to listen. I'm in the mood to roast any optimism when it comes to these Dallas Cowboys or any other dookie ass team that I got to watch last year. I'm in the mood. Okay?
You live in a town with a dookie ass team, so you don't have to travel too far.
Why you gotta call out the Sabres like that?
That is hilarious.
Why you gotta call out the Sabres like that? We already know they're terrible.
Right. I was like, who is he calling out? The Sabres? He's hilarious.
Anyway,
that was a good
my
one.
pick is in the. I've got the same group, but I've got a different player. I had Ted McMillan go off the board last week at 7 to the Jets. So I'm going to go with Matthew Golden, the burner. And I think that he fits that need to fill in a piece for the Dallas Cowboys. And I think Matthew Golden, because he's available there, goes at 12 to the Cowboys.
Okay.
You're just going to keep picking damn players that ain't on slide. That's what we doing. You Mr. Intricate with your picks.
I don't think Mark is going to be mad if I have him. If I hand him.
I've seen where have we seen Matthew go? Where have we seen Matthew Golden at in a lot of our drafts? I've watched so many mock drafts and done mock drafts. I've seen Matthew Golden all the way from 12 with the Cowboys all the way to the back of the first round. Matthew Golden. I've seen him all. Him and Ibuka.
I've seen him as high as I've seen him mock to the Bears a couple of times because the Bears because they have to look at their wide receiver core. Yes, they're a little bit old, so you have to look at that too. I'm not saying that the Bears are going to go that route. I think the Bears are more likely to go either offensive line to finish off the last piece, or a running back, or a tight end, or something along those lines. But with Dallas, I think it's just let's start with the wide receiver. They look at running back in the second round, and then they go attack, whether it's defensive tackle or some offensive line in that third and fourth round when you get a chance to go there. So
let me read some of these comments because Marcus lives in a far corner of the earth in El Paso. Blade says Banks is a stud. Niners defensive tackle Walter Nolan, guard Will Campbell, Cowboys left tackle Kelvin Banks. What's up, bros? What's up, Marcus Herring? McMillan is a good receiver. DK is just big and fast receiver, and Golden's overrated. Okay, that's cool. All right, that's pick 12. Let's jump on over to 13. Who's it? Let's see here. 13. Who do I got here? 13.
That's the Miami Dolphins.
So, Miami, another team. They got a lot of holes.
Go ahead and get optimistic. Go ahead and get optimistic. So I can get on.
They got a lot of holes. They got offensive line issues. Look, do not be surprised. I'm just going to put this nugget out there. I'm hearing a lot of chirping all over the place. You listen to the talk shows and just things on the internet. Do not be surprised if Tyreek Hill is moved. Don't be surprised. Mm-hmm. With all the stuff he's got going on. I
told you that's what happened anyway.
He's got the domestic violence stuff going on. He's going through the divorce. He had like 5 kids last year. And not that it has anything to do, but it's just he got arrested
with Philip Rivers,
speeding on the way to the on the way to the state. I mean, it's just always something with him. Last year
he had 5 kids.
He did. He got 5 women pregnant last year.
Yep.
I'm serious. I'm not saying that like jokingly. He did. He had 5 kids last year. I mean, him and Elon Musk, they're just
he's trying to catch up to Philip Rivers. I think he's at 11. Philip's got 13.
Elon Musk at 14. So he had 5 kids last year. So I think that their biggest need is they got to fix that offensive line. You know, a couple of weeks ago, just out of the blue, Armstead, he just retires. I mean, he's been with them for 12 years. He's out of there. So they have a major need at guard. So what I did is I gave them who I believe is the best guard in this draft. I gave them Tyler Booker, Alabama guard. I think he's the best, interior offensive lineman in this draft. 6'5", 330. Y'all seen I put pieces in the Alphabets Football Show group on him, showing him compared to Jerry Jones from the Arkansas championship team from 1964. Because some people don't think that human beings are evolving and getting bigger as the years go on. But I think Tyler Booker, I think he's a monster. He's a road grader. He's nasty. He's a pancake blocker. I mean, he looks to follow through and destroy you. So I really like this for them. I think he's a guy who can kind of establish their run game. He's the kind of guy that they need in those cold weather games in the AFC East, going up to the Meadowlands, going up to Buffalo. You need that type of guy, in front of Achane and Mitchell, the kid that they drafted last year. So I gave them Tyler Booker. I think this is the best pick for them. I also believe they have other needs, but I think that this is the guy here. They need him. And you got the best one still on the board. Give me Tyler Booker, Alabama guard.
Dre? What you thinking, Dre?
I mean, the guy, he's just a monster, an absolute monster, man. Just, whoo. Very impressive individual, man. Very impressive individual. What you got, Dre?
William Richter, I'm going to let you go ahead because you know how I feel about the Miami Dolphins. So I'm going to let you go, and then I'm going to go last.
All right. Well, on this one, I'm torn. I'm thinking offensive line as well along the lines of Marcus. I'm leaning interior offensive line, guard, center, something along those lines, because right now it's a little rich for Josh Simmons, the 4th offensive tackle on the board. I'm I'm not 100% sold that Josh Simmons is going to be a fit right here. Like it's just a touch rich. I think Josh Simmons is a late first, early second round tackle. I think there's a little bit more work needed to be done to have him ready to go for the season, and especially replacing a guy like Teron Armstead, that's going to take a lot because that's big shoes to fill. So I think I'm online with what Marcus is looking at as well. I think the player right now, again, I think I have Booker on my sheet as well. He's available. Let me double check. Yep. So I'm going to give him Tyler Booker as well. It seems like that's the right fit for them. They need guard play. They need help all up and down that line. Otherwise, Tua is going to be drinking out of a straw for the rest of his life soon enough, and nobody wants to see that. Nobody wishes that on him. So I go Tyler Booker.
You sticking with you gonna go with Tyler Booker too?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Tyler Booker as well. I thought about Josh Simmons, but I just think it's a little rich for Josh Simmons. Replacing that offensive tackle is that's a bit much. He's not quite on the same par as those other three.
Okay. What you got, Dre?
You know what? I can't even complain about agreeing with picks today because I agreed with Marcus on one pick already. You guys agreed on another pick.
It just
There will
happens.
be no tic-tac-toe on this. There will be no tic-tac-toe on this pick. So, Booker is already off the board. I don't know why y'all still got Booker on the board.
Yeah, you had Booker come off the board to the Bears. Yep.
Correct.
Because he's a guard, and guards don't usually go high.
Yeah.
Guards just don't usually go high.
He's gonna go high in this case. He's gonna have to guard. He's gonna have to guard Caleb Williams. He's going off the board. He's going off the board early. Okay. All right. With that being said, I took this guy.
Beast.
Donovan Jackson. The Ohio State University national champions of the world. My guy, Donovan Jackson. For the guys that told Marcus the Alphabets' Texas Longhorns to buck him. Forget hook him, buck him.
Yeah, he
buck.
Well, Ohio State did that. Ohio State did that to everybody. Not just Texas. They did that to everybody.
That they did. All right, we are now at.
We all know. But hold on now. Marcus, there you go, being optimistic again. You did it to everybody. Now, we know damn well that Texas football is totally different from everybody else's football. Coming from the words of Marcus the Alphabets.
It is.
Trying to sit here and give up they did it to everybody. You're right. That's why it's a different kind of ass whooping when you do it to Texas. It's a special kind of ass whooping when you do it to Texas.
Is it?
Look at his face. Yeah, oh, now is it?
We'll see. We'll see. We'll see this upcoming season. We'll see this upcoming season when they lost their entire team. We'll see this year after they lost their entire team. They lost their starting quarterback, both their starting running backs. Now they do got Jeremiah Smith. He's cold. I can't even say nothing bad about him. You're losing half your defensive line. So, okay, it happens like that. Just timed up,
They get all the recruits. Texas is a big state. Big state. They get all the recruits. They should be perfectly fine.
No, it's because you're the state of Texas gets all the recruits. Texas Longhorns don't get all the recruits because you're spreading that talent through 10 D1 schools. Texas Tech, Texas A&M, Baylor, TCU, SMU, Texas A&M, UTEP. So I mean, and then the guys that don't go there, they end up going somewhere else. Jalen Hurts is from Texas. Matthew Stafford's from Texas. So Kyler Murray's from Texas. RG3 was from Texas. Vince Young. So, you know,
Patrick Mahomes, Andrew Luck, they're all Texas. So yes, that talent pool is there. So jumping over to the next. The Indianapolis Colts are on the clock.
Can we get some comments read real quick?
Yeah, let me see here. What do we have here?
I'll read Michael's. Michael. Michael, what's good, my guy? He said, I can say for the record, I do not believe Bean will pick on day one. Didn't I say this already? I said Brandon Bean is not picking in the first round. He literally struggles in the first round. We know this.
Yeah,
yes,
I think he's
Michael,
out.
we agree.
Let me see here.
Thumbs up. Yes, he will do the same thing he did last year. The same thing he did last year, he will do again this year. He will repeat that.
Man, if Shedeur is there for Miami, pull the trigger and start the rebuild. They can get out of the Tua contract after this year. And see, I think Shedeur's gone. I think Shedeur's gone. That's not. Now they're back.
Again, we have QBDD teams that are ahead of them, and now New Orleans. They went from just needing to like
Stafford is from Texas, sir. Matthew Stafford played at Highland Park in Texas. He went to high school with Clayton Kershaw.
Yeah,
trust me on this. He is from Texas.
Yeah,
he went to college at Georgia, but he played high school ball in Texas. So
yeah, Georgia and Alabama kids are getting recruited out of Texas for a reason.
Matthew Stafford is from Texas. Andrew Luck played high school ball in Houston. So yes.
So the Indianapolis Colts are on the clock.
Now Indianapolis, another team, and this is why it's so hard when you miss in the first round, especially at quarterback. Now, just a couple of years ago, they spent the 6th pick on Anthony Richardson. Let this be a warning to all those people out there, because I've seen it, and then I just saw the 17 players that were invited to the draft to be there live. Well, he doesn't act like a Houstonian at all. Well, he played high school ball, and he played high school ball at Houston, and he played at Stanford, but he's from Houston. His dad, Oliver Luck, played for the old Houston Oilers. So, anyways, they spent a top 6 pick on Anthony Richardson. Let this be a lesson, because I saw that this guy was in the 17 people that were invited to be at the draft. Jalen Milroe. Does anybody have Jalen Milroe going in the first round? He got invited. 17 players got invited to.
Maybe the only way I could see it is if Dart comes off the board and now that somebody comes back in at 30 to 32 to grab a quarterback, somebody like the Giants that missed. Or I think Cleveland will be looking at Milroe, honestly, more than anybody.
I don't think he's going in the first round.
It's for that 5th-year option, and it's a shot. I think Cleveland, the New York Giants, the Las Vegas Raiders, those 3 teams, since they chose not to take a first-round quarterback in the early part, get a piece, come back in, grab another one, and see if they can get it right that go-round. I don't know if that's the right call, but I wouldn't have invited Jalen Milroe. I don't think that he's going until like day 2.
You could have had our song on deck. Nah. See, this is you not being prepared. You should have had our song on deck, Marcus. You know what song
Giants like me. Giants
like you don't know what song it is.
No. Hell
you
no.
know what song it is?
No.
Thank you. I need that on deck next time. Hell no, he ain't going in the first round. You kidding me? Yo, Brock Purdy with Mr. Irrelevant. I'm almost
and he's away. So I gave them. Look, they've gone out. Look, you got Jonathan Taylor. I still think Jonathan Taylor's a hell of a back. you got some good piece on the offensive line. You got a guy like Quentin Nelson, former first round pick. You drafted Adonai Mitchell, AD Mitchell out of Texas last year, a speedster. You got Michael Pittman Jr. So I gave them another weapon. Last year in the first round, they went with the UCLA kid Latu, the edge rusher from UCLA. This year, I'm giving them another weapon in the intermediate game. Now, there are some people. This is a tomato type situation. I like Tyler Warren a little bit better than Colston Loveland. I gave them Tyler Warren. I think what we saw with the success with the Raiders last year with the kid out of Georgia, Brock Bowers, I think now you're going to see some teams seeing the success from that. So I gave them Tyler Warren. He's a H-back, fullback, tight end. They line him up at running back in the Wildcat. He's a weapon. He's an absolute weapon. I could see them using him in a Taysom Hill type role where he's fullback, tight end, running back type thing, and I think that could really help them. Give me Tyler Warren, tight end from Penn State.
Go ahead, Dre. Your turn.
Absolute beast. Just this guy, and when we look at some of the tight ends that have come out of Penn State the past couple of years, there's Mike Gesicki. There's been a couple of really good tight ends. Harrison Bryant, even though the Browns never use them, but it's the Browns. They've put out not quite like Iowa, but Penn State's put out some pretty damn good tight ends. So I like the kid there.
Dre, who you got?
Well, this is the alphabet.
Did you hear Braden Smith's mental issues? Dude was going through it. Braden Smith. Jalen Milroe is this year's Joe Milton. Jalen Milroe is this year's Joe Milton, the best.
Marcus, don't read the comments. Marcus, don't read the comments. I'm talking to you, sir, Mr. Penn State man. Y'all like Penn State? Y'all like Penn State, but y'all like to pay Penn State. Penn State? No? Yeah, Penn State man, that's Jerry Jones. You like that, huh? You like them Penn State players, huh?
I don't give a damn
Pennsylvania
about
players.
I don't really give a damn about
I'm
them.
gonna go with
Yeah.
With them plain ass uniforms, with them Pee Wee League uniforms, all white with a blue stripe on the helmet, plain ass uniform.
Jimmy Colston Loveland from Michigan.
I got you. Looking at what the Colts need. Linebackers really thin. Linebackers really thin right now for the Colts, but I don't value the linebacking core to this point. I don't think that they are worth a top 15 pick. Just not quite yet. You're just a little outside if you're reaching just a hair. The best I would go right here would be Jihad Campbell, but they need a playmaker. They need to get that offense right. They need to give a weapon. I've been mocking him since. It's Tyler Warren. It's a coin flip, honestly, which way they go, because whoever falls is going to be falling to the end of the first round, and somebody's going to grab them at the end of the first round. Somebody like the Chargers or Minnesota might also look at them like that. There are a couple places that they could go, but I'm just going to take Tyler Warren right off the board and call it a day. Next up is the Atlanta Falcons.
All right. So Atlanta, they went out last year. They've been struggling with quarterback since Matty Ice is retired. They go out last off season. They're sick of shuffling through quarterbacks. They had been playing Desmond Ridder from Cincinnati, University of Cincinnati. That is, he's a guy. He was just a guy. So they go out. They pick up a guy like Kirk Cousins, who had a lot of success with Minnesota. And they threw a curveball at us last year. I was very surprised with this. I think it was pick number 8, and they drafted Michael Penix Jr. Kirk Cousins didn't come back like they wanted. The kid gets a shot. It looks like they got their quarterback of the future. This kid, coming out of Washington, pretty damn good. They got weapons over there. So you got your Drake London, you got your Bijan Robinson, your Tyler Algier. You got some good. Kyle Pitts hasn't really panned out, but when they could have drafted Jamar Chase. But anyways, they've got some weapons on offense. I think that they need an edge rusher. They went out last year. They made a trade for Matthew Judon. Didn't quite work out for them. I think that they need to go get an edge. A lot of the edges are already off the board. I let them stay in state from Georgia and get Michael Williams, 6'6", about 265, long, lean edge rusher. Now, there's some questions. There's been some questions that have come up about Michael Williams. Sometimes you look at edge rushers and you're like, is this guy as good as what I think he is? Because he's surrounded by an all-star cast. You look at some of the other players that he's had around him. We look at some of the players that have played on the Georgia defense. Is this guy all that? Having a guy like Jalen Carter over there on the other side of him. I like Michael Williams. I think he's a guy. I think his skill set translates to the NFL. So I gave them Michael Williams. He stays right there from the University of Georgia and stays right there in Georgia. At the Mercedes-Benz Bowl Dome, and I let this guy stay in state, and I think he's going to have some success there. Go ahead,
William.
You want me to go next? All right. I'm also looking defensive end, but because I have a different name, we're going to change it up a little bit. We could also go with Atlanta needing D-line just in general. So I'm looking at my board here real quick just to confirm what I've got for players. And I'm going, I got a Walter Nolan. I got Shamar Stewart. I could go with Jihad Campbell here, maybe. But with who's on the board for what I've got, I can't let Jalen Walker slide any farther. Jalen Walker is going to come off the board here for me as the edge rusher. And so I'm going to give them Jalen Walker. Dre, your pick.
Hello, anybody there?
Oh, there it is.
Right?
Yeah, stupid ass kid just did something weird. I don't know. It was weird just now. I just tried to put up your pick, and it just did some old goofy shit just now. Excuse my friend. Sorry.
Quit pushing the hamsters to do something that computer ain't ready for.
Repeat your pick again one more time, William.
So I went with Jalen Walker because he was still on my board.
You know what? You and these hand-me-down picks right now. You and Marcus. Y'all real cute with y'all picks. Well, I'm gonna tell you my pick real quick too. While I put this up, needs to load up a commercial before his picks. Ha 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 ha. Nice one, Blaze. I'm glad that you add some entertainment value to the comment section. I like to add a little, spice to what I'm saying. Now, with that being said, I feel a little spicy today. I put James Pierce Jr. By the way, that was my pick.
Not a bad choice either.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of mocks where James Pierce Jr. is dropping. I don't know what it is. And again, I think this is a very heavy edge rusher draft. And a lot of the edge rushers, they all have kind of they have some questions to them because you don't have a lot of those just surefire type guys. You have a lot of tweeners. And for people who aren't aware with the tweeners, a lot of these guys are light guys. They're 235, 240 pounds. They're not your classic type 4-3 defensive end types. These are more pass rushing linebacker type. So a lot of it is just, your preference. What are you running? Are you running a 3-4? Are you running a 4-3? What type of player are you looking for? So
I think the run behind James Pierce Jr. is a lot of people don't know how to evaluate him in such a way to get the right evaluation. He's got flashes in the pan. He's got production, but sometimes it just doesn't show on the tape, but it shows up on the field. Like he's showing all the measurables are there. All the things are there. They see it on tape at some points and other times they're not. So they're not like, we don't.
And I think that's why you see that they only invited 17 guys to the draft.
Well, they invited 38 17 guys to accept.
How many guys do we really have that are surefire first round type players? And some of these 20 guys in other
I was going to say about 20 would probably be the number I would probably walk into.
I got between 12 and 15 guys, and I'm just like, this guy is a surefire first rounder, and so we'll see as far as that though. So jumping over to the Cardinals, another team, we've seen kind of a rise with them. They last year they got what everybody thought. A lot of people thought was the best wide receiver in the draft. They tried to get a little bit better at the wide receiver position. There are some people that think Malik Neighbors should have gone before him.
A rise of what?
So
a rise of what? The rise of who? The hell are you talking about? Arizona's a rise.
They weren't as bad. They weren't as good. They rose while San Francisco fell. We saw the rise of the Rams too. We saw the 49ers kind of fall. We'll see how they bounce back from that. But Arizona, they got a couple little pieces over there. But I went with them. I think that they really need safety. Okay. Now, again, tomato. It depends. We just had the debate between Tyler Warren and Cortland Loveland. Some people are really in love with Malachi Starks. Some people are really in love because he's a genetic freak, a guy like Emanwari. I gave them Malachi Starks, a guy who can go and, you line him up. He's a chess piece in the defensive backfield. I like him there. Now, again, they could go some other. I would like to see them maybe with a edge rusher here. I could see them going edge rusher here. I gave them a guy that Malachi Starks. He's also a good blitzer from the safety position. They've kind of went heavy on offense the past couple of years. You get a guy like Marvin Harrison Jr. You just extended Trey McBride. I think he's the highest paid tight end now. So I gave them somebody in the defensive backfield that could really help them out. Give me Malachi Starks, Georgia safety.
Go ahead, Dre. I'll let you have the next one, and then I'll go next.
Hold tight, my guy. I want to make sure I put Malachi Starks up here because that's his Malachi Starks. All right, Malachi Starks. Here you are, Malachi Starks. Everybody, that's Malachi Starks. Sweet. Dabo giving Arizona something on the defensive end. I was just reading the comments where Michael said they asked Kyler Murray, who's heavily invested in this year's draft, about who they would pick, and they picked the defense. I guess he said D-line only. So he thinks that they'll take Kenneth Grant, the defensive tackle. But I think just as Kyler Murray really is in real life, which is short, I think they take what he says with a grain of salt and says you've come up a little bit too short on the pick. You're short at quarterback too, and we need to protect you. So my pick is Greg Sorbet. Period.
You want Greg Zabel?
Very rich. That's very rich for him coming out of North Dakota State. But
yeah,
I
can see that. I could see it as a reach, like Gray Zabel. I could see that if they think that that's the kid that can be the interior guard for what they need. Let me see. They need O-line, wide receiver, edge. Positions I have. Gray Zabel's there. Donovan Jackson's there. I think that's a bit rich for both of those guys. Could we see a Luther Burden or an Emeka Egbuka come off the board? It's possible. I think this is where I see Walter Nolan come off the board for that defensive line, and I just think that defensive line needs a little bit more love and attention. There's nobody really there. I'm not sold on giving. Let's see. James Pierce Jr., it's a little rich right here, and I don't think that he's kind of like what they're looking for. So I'm going to go with Walter Nolan, defensive end or defensive tackle. So I'm going to put Walter Nolan there on the Arizona Cardinals. I don't think he falls much farther than that, personally.
Okay. Not bad. We're halfway there. Pick 17. Those
Cincinnati Bengals.
Look, man. I think it's an understatement to say that the Cincinnati Bengals defense is atrocious. They're really bad. I think it's realistic to also say that they got one of the most explosive offenses out there. They are a problem to deal with offensively. You just saw both of their number one receiver, their number two receiver just got paid. Jamar Chase, highest paid non-quarterback in the league for now. I think Micah Parsons will jump over him when he comes up. T. Higgins, he's the highest paid number two receiver at $30 million a year. They have got to figure out. As a matter of fact, I would not have a problem if they didn't draft any offensive players in this draft at all. I think that this would be a very heavy defensive draft. When you're looking at the heavy hitters in the AFC, the gauntlet that they're going to have to walk through there. You got the offensive firepower to do it, but your defense is atrocious. When you got to see the Buffaloes, the Kansas Cities, the
Baltimores,
the
Houston,
maybe the Broncos, maybe the Chargers. You've got to get better on defense. There's still a lot of controversy about what's going to happen with Trey Hendrickson. He led the league in sacks last year with 17.5 sacks. They got to get somebody on the other side that can get attention off this guy. They got to get another edge rusher. Now, a lot of the elite edge rushers in this draft, they're already off the board. Of course, the Carters and the Walkers, the Jalen Walkers. We've seen guys like that already off the board. I'm going to give them a guy who I think has a lot of promise. Now, do his stats really show it? No, not really. But this is a guy who has been compared to Myles Garrett. Okay, 6'5", about 265. He was a genetic freak, had a really good combine. And people had to go back after looking at his testing at the combine and say to themselves, hey, What are we missing here with all of these physical attributes that he has? Where is this guy? Why aren't the stats matching up with this guy's workout? I gave them Shamar Stewart, Texas A&M, a long guy on the other side. We'll see what happens. They say that they want, that they're going to try to keep Hendrickson. I don't know how that works out, especially with we've seen all of the edge rushers that have gotten paid this offseason. We've seen Crosby get paid, and we saw Daniil Hunter get paid, and we saw Myles Garrett get paid, and TJ Watts in the last year his deal, and Micah Parsons in the last year his deal. I don't know what's going to happen as far as that, but I think that they need to go and get a guy that can get after the quarterback. When you look at the elite quarterbacks that are in the AFC, and even in your own division, you got a Lamar Jackson in your division. You got the Josh Allens, not in your division, but in your conference. You got the Patrick Mahomes. You got to get somebody that can get after the quarterback. Shamar Stewart, edge rusher, Texas A&M. That's who I gave to them.
Q. Marcus, we on the same. See, I have somebody else that's still on the board. Both of you picked him earlier, but I think he falls to the Bengals, or the Bengals move up to this guy.
Yeah.
And it's Michael Williams.
Yeah.
We are on the same page. They definitely need to go ahead and shore up that defensive line.
No doubt about it. They, you just
he said, well, we're fucked. Y'all ain't making the playoffs for the third straight year, Blaze. He ain't gonna like me. I know Blaze probably like, damn, every time Andre say we don't make the playoffs, we don't make the playoffs. Andre, stop saying we're not gonna make the playoffs. Well, Blaze, you're not gonna like this one, sir, but y'all not making the playoffs again this year. Again, for the third straight year. For the third time. I'm saying that early. I feel for you. I feel you, my guy. I really do. I feel for you. I just think I have some type of empathy for you.
They are so top heavy on the offense, and I just think that they've got to start using resources on the defensive side of the ball. When you just look at the offenses, they offensively, these guys can score 40 points a game. They really could. With their two receivers, when they're healthy, if you can keep Joe Burrow upright, I also wouldn't have a problem with them going offensive line. But I just really think that they got to jump over to that defensive side and shore that up over there. I like a bigger back than Chase Brown. I like Chase Brown. Chase Brown to me is more of like a Austin Eckler type. I think that they really kind of missed a guy like Joe Mixon last year, If a guy like Omarion Hampton, if they just wanted to go there, if they were just sticking on the offensive side. But I think defense, I think that this got to be a very defensive heavy draft for them. Go ahead, Will.
So who'd you take, Marcus, just to make sure I heard correctly?
I took
Stewart.
I took Shamar Stewart.
He took Stewart. And I took Williams.
And who are you taking, Torch?
Who I think I told you, Michael Williams.
Okay, Michael.
I think he falls to the Bengals, or they go up and get Michael Williams, because I think he'll be the best available defensive end, or edge guy, period. And they got to get him. You can't sit up here and BS around.
For me, I'm looking at all these guys. I'm trying to figure it out. I'm probably going to go James Pierce Jr. here, and I just think that that's probably the best fit for him.
James Pierce Jr.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they need edge. I think we're all in agreement they need an edge rusher or at least defensive line help, and this is where they start. And in the second round, they can come attack, whether
absolutely
it's D tackle or whatnot. So Seattle is now on the clock.
All right, now
He seems small. He seems small. Don't make me say it again. He seems small for the Cincinnati Bengals. You play.
And you know what? You know what else makes these guys look small? And I'm going to say this, and I'm probably sounding like an old fuddy-duddy, man. I hate when defensive linemen wear single-digit numbers or team numbers. When I see number 27, I think like running back. I think somebody in the secondary. You look like a cornerback instead of an edge rusher, but that's neither here nor there. When I see 27, I do not think when I think of like a mean edge rusher, I think like 55, 90, 99.
When I see 27, I think Trey White. When I see 27,
I hate these numbers. Like I hate these. Like, you got linebackers wearing team numbers. I hate that. It drives me crazy. It just does.
I'm sorry, but Marcus, he's too small. Just think about the division you're in. You're in power. You're in power. You're in a power division. The damn Ravens run the football. He ain't tackling this mother. This motherfucker right here is not tackling Derrick Henry. When you think about the Pittsburgh Steelers, power running game. This mofo is not, and I get it. Najee Harris not there no more. But if he was, dude, like it wouldn't be believable to me. Then you got Cleveland, who obviously is a run heavy team.
He's going to Cincinnati, but like the Browns. I mean, the Browns they're gonna run the football. That's what they do.
That's what I said. I said the Browns run the football.
Yeah. The thing about it,
he's going to Cincinnati. Small body frame, and playing DX. Dude, okay.
That's why I gave them. That's why I gave them
to see another Michael Orr. Watch this. I expect to see another Michael Orr throw him over the field.
Yeah, I just when you're drafting your team, to me, your first order of business when you're doing roster construction is you have to build your team first and foremost to deal with the other teams in your division. That's why I've never understood Miami. Like the shit that Miami does, I'm like, what are you doing? What like we're just gonna build a track team, and that's cute in August and September. It ain't so cute in December and January when it's snow on the ground and you got a 190-pound running back in Achane. He's like 175 pounds. You got a quarterback that's from Hawaii. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't like if I'm Miami, all of the players that I'm drafting are like from the Big Ten. All of my players, I'm drafting Ohio State, Penn State, Michigan
Boston College offensive linemen. I'm drafting like Michigan offensive linemen.
I'm not drafting anybody from warm weather places. I'm just not doing it. I'm going to go draft me some guys, some guys that are playing.
Not afraid to go sleeveless out in the cold.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. When you got to go to Buffalo and go play the Jets and go play the Patriots, and you got a guy from Hawaii.
And then you also got to travel inside the conference, which is Baltimore, Cincinnati.
You said guys who know how to play in the trenches. That's what you said.
Play in the elements.
Just in the elements, let alone the trenches, just the elements.
And the elements. You got. Why are you drafting guys from? Look, you got to
play in the trenches.
But I'm saying a guy who's played in the trenches in the elements. I don't want an offensive lineman from USC.
I'm building my whole squad against Alabama, Arkansas, and Georgia linemen. That's just not going to do it when I got to go to Buffalo, Baltimore, Cincinnati, the Patriots, the Jets, the Giants.
Michigan, Ohio State. Those are the kind of players that I don't want. And I know a lot of these guys, they're Florida boys. Yeah, and that's great in September. But when the weather starts getting bad. So anyway, jumping over, our next pick is Seattle. Look, Seattle's gone through a big change over there. They got rid of Geno. They got rid of DK. They brought in Mr. See and Goes. He's going to be their quarterback 3 years, 110 million, but
Over
I think
for
really
Minnesota.
only really one year of it is Sam Darnold. He's their new quarterback. Now you lost DK Metcalf. Now, for me, it was a toss-up. Do you give him another wide receiver to replace DK? I don't know if I want the wide receivers I still have on the board. You got a Ibuka, you got a Matthew Golden. I don't really think that they need that type of wide receiver. I think that they need a big physical presence, but I gave it to them in the form of a tight end. So I gave him who I perceive is the second best tight end in this draft. And there are some people that split hairs as far as it. Some people like Loveland a little bit better than Warren. I like Warren a little bit better than Loveland. I'm giving them Loveland from tight end from Michigan. I think he can help them out there. Intermediate target. He can play a little bit of slot, a big slot. He can play on the outside. I think, that's your big body because now, you've lost, you got Jackson Smith and Jigba. You went out and go get a Cooper Kupp, but Cooper Kupp, he's more of a route runner. Jackson Smith and Jigba, he's more of a route runner. You need a guy who's a little bit bigger, a little bit more physical. This guy's about 245 pounds, 6'4", 6'5". I think that they need that kind of guy. Give me Courtland Loveland for Seattle. What you got?
All right. Dre?
William.
Oh, you want me to go first? Okay. I'm looking at wide receiver.
Okay.
I'll go first.
No. I go. Oh, I'm ready. Oh, go ahead.
Okay, Smart Joe. All right.
Oh, you want me to? Okay. Mark is the alphabet. Mark is the alphabet. Sir.
Yes.
You had me all the way. Listen, sir, you had me all the way until you just tried to convince the general public and myself that the Seattle Seahawks is taking a tight end in the first round. You had me until you said that.
Okay.
You had me even on the fact that you mentioned, the fact that you mentioned Mr. Seeing Ghost. Can I ask you a question?
What's up?
Why did Seeing Ghost lose last year? Why did Seeing Ghost lose to Detroit multiple times last year? Why did Seeing Ghost see a first round?
Offensive line issue. Offensive line issue.
Damn! Here you go. Bad fell right into what I was about. Thank you. I'm so glad that you said that.
But hang on though. Let me respond to that though. I think it was the offensive line issues because they couldn't consistently run the ball. I don't think that he will have that issue there with Seattle. They got two bruising ass backs that can control it. Look, I'm gonna say this. You know what I think about Aaron Jones? Aaron Jones ain't that type of back. He's just not. He's a little dude.
Are you indicting your man from UTEP? Oh, you.
I love Aaron Jones. I love Aaron Jones. When I
you ain't UTEP two-stepping now, is you? You ain't UTEP two-stepping now, huh?
I'm just telling you. I just stood next to him. Hell, I stood next to Micah Parsons. I stood next to Micah. To me, Micah Parsons a little dude, but I ain't a little dude. So when I stand next to somebody, he's tall, but he's a lean dude. I think with them, they gotta get another weapon in the passing game. And what is a quarterback's best friend? A running game. You got Zach Charbonnet. You got Kenneth Walker III. And they tied in. So they got
the short and intermediate stuff.
Marcus?
Yeah.
Marcus? You know what's a quarterback's best friend? That's what you said?
A running game? A running game where he can dump it off the hand of the ball?
What's quarterback's best friend? I'll tell you what a quarterback's best friend is. A quarterback's best friend since Lawrence Taylor has been the second highest paid position on the offense, which is an offensive lineman. Nice try, though. Real smooth. I like that. It was smooth. It was smooth coming out. Okay. I'll take the guy from Arizona. better protect seeing ghosts. That boy is seeing ghosts. If he sees some more ghosts this year, how many people? Hold on. How many people in the general public think that if Sam Darnold sees ghosts this year, that he's done as a quarterback and his ass is going back to sit in the bench, riding the bench and pouring Gatorade? I do. I do. Because you want to know what's more embarrassing than having a bad season? It's more embarrassing when you win 14 games and you get knocked off in the first round and you lose to the same team multiple times. Embarrassing, by the way. Super embarrassing.
So who's your player?
William.
Who's your player? Just so I can make sure.
His name is very hard.
He's got one of them Paulins, Saya Vanea, I think that's how you pronounce it.
Saya Vanea, whatever. Yes.
Jonah Saya Vanea. Okay. All right, let me grab him real quick and I'll put him in my list here.
I'm about to swallow his nut. But Saya Vanea could be next on the list. Mm-hmm.
All right. And then for me, O-line is there. O-line is very much in need, but again, still rich for Josh Simmons. Josh Connerly is not. That's too rich. I can't do Gray Zabel or Donovan Jackson or Sivanea. Like those are second rounders. Those guys are second round guys. Like Zabel might be end of first. So, and two best tight ends. No, I'm torn between Luther Burden or Mecca Ibuka. And again, we have an older, aging Cooper Kupp, who's, yes, they're on a couple of years deal. But if Cooper's hurt all the damn time, what does that give you for production? We know that he's been hurt a lot in the last few years. So I need that kind of wide receiver. So I'm going to look and I'm going to bring in a Mecca Ibuka for the Seahawks.
Former teammates at Ohio State. So that's
I disagree.
All right.
Okay.
We got Tampa Bay.
Because if you don't go that far, you might as well go ahead and get the runner. You heard what I said. Y'all over here trying to be so slick. I don't agree, sir.
Well, you don't have to.
I don't agree. I think he's a late first round talent / second round talent. No. Jeremiah Smith was the best receiver on that damn team.
But he's not going. He wouldn't be going there to be their number one receiver. The thing is, he doesn't have to be.
JSN is your number one right now. JSN is your one. Kupp is your two. The kid is going to go into the slot.
You're trying to resemble the Minnesota Vikings all over again by doing that. Good job with that. You want the Minnesota Vikings with a whole bunch of weapons.
It's an offense that's going to be familiar.
They're not the Minnesota. But see, the thing about it is they're not the Minnesota, because here's the difference between them and the Minnesota Vikings. The difference between the Seattle Seahawks and the Minnesota Vikings is running game.
Yep.
Running game. A guy like once again,
Charbonnet can outrun anybody on that Minnesota squad right now.
It comes down to I don't give a damn about their running game. If you are behind in games or you are behind in sticks, I don't give a damn about Kenneth Walker, who they had last year, and Seattle still didn't. Did Seattle make the playoffs last year? Huh?
No, they did.
Did they make the playoffs? Huh?
No, they did.
With that running game, they make the playoffs, sir.
Well,
and they had DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett and all those weapons. And all those weapons. And you did not
Tyler Lockett is done.
And your offensive line looked like boo-boo shit. Yeah, and Tyler Lockett is gone.
Tyler Lockett is done.
Later in the season. So, okay. And look at the first half of Seattle season and then the second half. And in the second half of Seattle season, the offensive line looked like boo-boo shit. And the reason why they didn't make the playoffs,
they
the offensive
definitely
line
get better.
Behind the stick, you're behind the game. You need to protect. I don't care about no goddamn Ibuka. Fuck Ibuka. Excuse my French, I'm sorry. But fuck Ibuka. I take bazooka bubblegum and an offensive lineman before I take Ibuka.
Okay, Shannon Sharp.
At this pick. I'm sorry. Protect at all costs Sam Darnold.
So what?
Unless you want
Charbonnet
him-
and Kenneth
you know what?
Walker
I
can't
think you
run
want
block?
him
Like they
to
can't
go
step up and block?
No.
Are they that terrible?
Marcus think he's slick. I know why he agree with that. Marcus think he's slick. I know why he agree with that. Because the minute he can get out of that Dak Prescott contract, we could slip that Sam Darnold right on the team. I slip Sam Darnold right at the Cowboys.
I would not take him.
I'm just joking. I'm just messing with you, Marcus. I'm just putting it for
No, we got
entertainment purpose.
I like the kid
trying to be slick, y'all.
Joe Milton. I really like him. So jumping over to 19.
Oh, you like Joe Milton?
I like Joe Milton.
Oh yeah,
I like Joe Milton. And he gets to sit back there. He gets to sit back there. You don't have to throw him out there to the wolves. So at 19, we're nearly at the end here. Pick 19. Look, Tampa Bay's got a nice little squad. You know, I thought they surprised with that. Now the injuries hit them kind of hard. Mike Evans got hurt, and Chris Godwin got hurt. I mean, that really hurt them. But they did find something nice. You know, they had started off with Rashad White. I thought, you know, he was doing pretty good, but they drafted a kid out of Oregon, Bucky Irving. They got a nice little 1-2, you know, a 1-2 punch over there in the running game. I think they got to do something on the defensive side, though. They got it. That division can be had. I think the NFC South and the AFC South are the two worst divisions in football.
I believe they're the first playoff team that's getting to draft because all the other teams in that division have already drafted.
So
Carolina, New Orleans, yep, and then Atlanta, yep. They're the first playoff team of the year.
I wanted to give them a difference maker on the defensive side of the ball. Now, again, a lot of the edge rushers, I was a little bit torn here. I looked at guys like maybe a Mike Green, a guy who's fallen, the kid out of Marshall. I was kind of looking there. I was kind of torn there. So I was like looking. Now, we already had Malachi Starks off the board. There are some people, especially after the combine, when you look at what he did at the combine, this kid had an incredible workout. Emanwari, the safety out of South Carolina. This kid, I'm not saying he's this guy, but when I see him play, I think a lot of Kyle Hamilton / Sean Taylor type player in the secondary at the safety position. That's what I see. I'm not saying he's old, but he has he's long, he's fast, and he's big. A guy back there, you know, you can use him to blitz from the safety position. He's got speed. He's got range. He's a ball hawk. I gave them Emanwari, the safety out of South Carolina.
Gray?
I'm going next.
Go for it.
But let me put his pick up first.
Oh, you want me to go first? That's fine. I can do that.
No, I
right.
said I'm putting his pick up. You can go first, though.
All right.
Go ahead.
Their main needs are linebacker and safety, cornerback, edge. I'm looking at who's available on my board, and I'm really looking right now at two guys, and I'm torn. Yes, Emanwari might be there, but I'm looking at Siobhan Ravel, Jahdae Barron, or Jihad Campbell. I really think that Jihad Campbell kind of fits what this team is doing and what this team is looking at in general. So he just fits that need. Jihad Campbell kind of fits that need, and that's who I'm going to put in. The linebacker from Alabama is Jihad Campbell.
William Richter. We agree on something for once tonight.
It's a minor miracle.
You know, I've been messing around somewhat about some of your picks. It's a minor one. Minor miracle. Mm-hmm. Jihad Campbell is the pick. Levon David is still a linebacker on the roster right now. Levon David is old as sin. You need. This would be a good pickup for him. He can learn from Levon David. You got to sign Reddick. Levon David.
Is Reddick over there now?
Yes, he is.
Reddick went over. I know Reddick hit. He had that horrible incident with the Jets where he just couldn't get. Okay, Reddick is more of an edge rusher though, but okay, this guy's more of a traditional off-ball linebacker. But that
right.
might.
So you need this guy right here. You need this guy to fill in that core, that linebacker core, especially when you've been losing linebackers left and right.
Yeah. So
you need this guy. He fits. Hold on. He fits the motto. All right, for the team. And if the Tampa Bay Buccaneers go anywhere but linebacker, I feel for them.
I could see him going corner. I could see him going corner like a Jahdae Barron or a Siobhan Ravel from LSU. Like I could see those guys because it fits what they're doing there. Those two guys kind of fit. The Benjamin Morrison is a bit of a reach. I think he's just a bit too far up the boards right now for that. Azare Thomas from Florida State, fantastic kid. I think he'll be in the mix right there too, depending on. It's honestly, when it comes to the cornerbacks, it's pick your flavor for the first 5 or 6 guys at corner. And then after that, it kind of goes from there. But I noticed that we'll have 12 picks next week. So do we want to go to Pittsburgh at 21 and then stop and then do 22 through 32 for the last one?
No, that's okay. I mean, that's fine. We can just do 12.
No,
I just double checking.
21 through 32 next week. Yeah.
So we got Denver as the last team for the night, if that's the case.
Okay.
The Denver Broncos.
Denver Broncos, look. Denver Broncos jumped on the scene last year.
Sorry. Marcus, y'all been going first this whole time. I'm going to go first, get my pick out the damn way now. Let me get my pick out.
He wants to do this.
I want to get it.
Okay.
One time for the one time. I'm having a whole lot of fun. You guys, listen, I will tell y'all this. I can tell that y'all really did y'all homework and all y'all research. And great job. I have not had the same time, so I am enjoying this greatly. I am actually loving, living, and learning totally as it pertains to this year's draft. Because I will admit, I've been a little Stephen A with the draft.
Just a little.
I've been a little Stephen A. You know what?
I thought you were going to say Dan. I thought you were going to say Dan Orlovsky.
I was having a good call.
At least he didn't go skip Baylor.
Right, or Dan Orlovsky. I was having.
At least he didn't go skip on us.
Plus, on top of that, I'm feeling a little wonky right now too. So I'm gonna hurry up and put this pick up there because I don't think he's going past 20. If he does, that's crazy. The second best running back in the draft is not going past 20. The Denver Broncos will take Omarion Hampton. They're taking Hampton. I think that's a piece that they definitely want to have, especially with the running back core that they got right now. You want to take this guy. You want him to learn. Yeah.
Look, you can leave that up for me. You can leave that up for me because I also have Omarion Hampton there. Look, when you are a lot of times when you're doing your mock drafts, you have to look at the tendencies of the coach. Okay, we saw Sean Payton. He's found his Drew Brees. He's found his quarterback. Now he's looking for his Alvin Kamara. He's looking for his Alvin Kamara here. Yep. It's a guy here, a workhorse type back, 220 pounds. His game reminds me, when I look at him and I watch him run, he reminds me a lot of Joe Mixon. That's what a guy, he can catch the ball. He's got soft hands. He's a big dude. You can feed him the ball. Now, they tried last year. They drafted Audric Estime out of Notre Dame. He kind of didn't really make it. A few years back, they drafted a guy, Javonte Williams. He's gone now. He's with Dallas. They need a back. They need a workhorse type back. I was kind of torn here too, maybe wide receiver, but I think they got some guys that can probably, they got their number one receiver in Cortland Sutton. I think that they can do okay at receiver. They drafted a kid out of Oregon last year. I think he might step up this year. But a workhorse type back that takes a pressure off of Bo Nick where he doesn't have to throw the ball 40 times a game. I'm sticking with you, Torch. I'm staying right there with Omarion Hampton at 20 for the Broncos. Will?
I spent the
Hey, William, before you go, I got to ask you a question. William, before you go, I got to ask this question.
Okay.
Y'all mentioned Joe Mixon. I thought that it was a total mistake that Denver didn't go get him. I thought it was a total mistake.
No, because you still had a couple of backs on the – you still had a couple of good backs on that thing that just didn't pan out. You had some kids with talent that were still on rookie deals.
Well, I got
worth the price to go get him.
Oh, so it wasn't worth. Okay, so Marcus the Alphabet. Let me ask this question. Then.
Okay.
Since William doesn't think he was worth it, do Denver and Houston flip success last year if Joe Mixon goes to the Broncos?
Say what now? To hear what you. Do Denver and who switch?
Houston.
Does Denver and Houston switch successes?
Well, they both got eliminated in the same round, didn't they?
Yep.
They both got Denver.
They both got the break speed out of them in the first round.
No,
right?
Houston won a playoff game this year. No, Houston won a playoff game this year.
Second round.
Denver did not win a playoff game this year.
Okay. I'm just saying, and also you also
William,
I tell y'all all the time.
Denver lost in the playoff.
Yeah, that's why
I tell you this all the time too. When you the division that you play in, let's not forget Denver plays Kansas City twice a year. They play the Chargers twice a year. So I think that they thought that they were doing something. Audric Estimate just didn't pan out, and Javonte Williams never recovered from his injury. So I don't know. I mean, it's hard to say, but this kid here, I think that Omarion Hampton can take them to the next level. I think that he can really help them, and with their play action game, I think that he would definitely help in their play action game. He's got good hands. He can catch out the backfield. So I think that this kid here, I think he can really help them over there in Denver. I think he can help them.
My answer is yes.
Okay.
My answer is yes.
I like Joe Mixon. Yeah. I like Joe Mixon.
It's for the exact reason that you almost. It's for the exact reason that you were alluding to. What was Joe Mixon's numbers against the Chargers in the playoff game? That Houston.
I don't know, but he ran pretty well.
168.
Yeah,
168.
Yeah, he's a.
Can I ask you the last big loss, the last big loss that a certain team that beat Denver in the playoffs this past year? You know who that team is. William should know. You should know.
Buffalo. Buffalo ran right down their throats too. Ty Johnson broke out.
When was the last time that the Buffalo Bills just definitively lost a playoff game?
They haven't definitively lost one in a very long time.
Against
it would have been the Chiefs at the AFC title game, the very first go round, when they lost by more than 10. But every other game has been like
that Cincy game. When Cincy went to Buffalo.
Okay. Yeah. No, sorry.
Right. When Cincy came to Buffalo, can I ask you what was Joe Mixon's numbers in that game?
He roughed them up that game. He roughed them up pretty good.
Which I think that I'm gonna just be honest with you. That 31-7 loss that Denver took is totally different if Joe Mixon is on that team with Denver. It's a total different game because you're moving the sticks. Buffalo gets the ball less, and we're looking at a different ball game, which is the reason why I asked, and this is why I alluded to what I said.
Do you think Joe Mixon, if he would have went to Denver, that's why I said Denver made a mistake not getting him. If you would have got him, you're probably in a better position with your offensive rookie of the year quarterback and Bo Nix in a better position than you were.
You also have to take into account. You also have to take into account that Joe Mixon was getting paid a number, and they were trying to walk out of this horrible deal they made with this quarterback that got traded off to Pittsburgh that they're still trying to eat out. And so at that point, salary cap said, no, we can't do that deal because that's the biggest
They
issue.
thought that that's what they were getting with Audric Estime. Because I mean, Audric Estime coming out of Notre Dame was highly touted. He just, and maybe he, you know, he's going into year 2. He kind of had some injuries.
Maybe he just needed to grow into it, and maybe he just needed.
But maybe if you pair this guy with Audric Estime and the little scat back there, guy, I can't think of his name. I watched him play. He played Division II ball at Notre Dame College. I can't think of his name off the top of my head, but if you got a nice little 1-2 punch, Sean Payton likes to run the ball. This guy here, I think he could help Bo Nix too, as far as not having to throw the ball as much. What you got, Will, for your pick before we jump up out of here?
I'm torn between 2 players.
Whoa, hold on, William. So wait a minute, sir. I ain't letting you get off the hook this easy. So the Denver Broncos couldn't afford a $7 million contract, $8 million contract for Joe Mixon? They couldn't?
Not with eating all that Russell Wilson money, they couldn't at that point in time.
Oh, well, that's funny that you say that, William. Do you know what their cap was this year?
Their cap coming this year? Different. Cap last year when Joe Mixon was actually up for free agency? A lot different.
No, I'm saying last year. Do you know what their cap was for 2024?
No, I don't remember off the top of my head.
Okay.
I think it was a couple $1 million at best. By the time they got to draft, I think it was just enough to sign their draft picks and have maybe enough for one.
You have to also understand, this is the point I keep trying to make, though. You spent resources. Audric Estime was highly touted coming out of Notre Dame.
Taken in the second or third round.
And then you had just spent a second-round pick earlier for Javonte Williams coming out of North Carolina.
The year previous.
The last good North Carolina back before this guy here. So sometimes you don't do stuff because you're like, okay, what we have on hand, because you have afforded, could Buffalo have afforded to go get Derrick Henry last year? Yes. But you figure you got a guy here that you really like in James Cook, who's on a rookie deal, who's not making any money. You know, could you have afforded him? Yeah, you probably could have afforded $8 million. Yeah, but we got this kid over here who's making $1 million. You know, and that's where the salary cap and structuring your team has to do with that. Yeah. What you got, Will?
All right. Well, that's sad. That's sad because they did take a $53 million cap hit on Russell Wilson because they released him instead of trading him. You don't see.
They were paying him. They were paying Russell Wilson to be on the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah.
They were paying him. Pittsburgh was only paying him like $2 million last year.
Because they had to pay a vet minimum because he was technically
I don't understand why you couldn't get a trade in place. Oh, well, then again, if you trade him, then he probably. No, that doesn't make sense. So make that make sense then. In the world of trades, they
were so adamant to get rid. Listen, they were so adamant to get rid of Russell Wilson. After what? And don't. So why also, huh?
It could have, but the value that they were getting back wasn't good enough.
He didn't want. Listen, Sean Payton didn't want him. He didn't want him. That's what it really was. He didn't want him. We saw the way he treated him on the sideline. He didn't want him there, and that's why when we're doing this stuff here and we're doing these mocks and stuff, we look at generally new coaches and GMs that are coming in. Guess what they want? They want their own guy. This ain't my guy. I'm not tying myself to this guy. He was part of the previous regime. I don't want this guy.
And again, you had a brand new owner walk in last year.
Let's also not forget what Denver gave up to get Russell Wilson.
A boatload of picks.
They gave up a whole crap load of picks. I can't pay Russell Wilson. Plus, I don't have any picks because I gave them all up for Russell Wilson. They gave up like 2 or 3 first-round picks, a couple of seconds. I mean, it was like a Deshaun Watson type trade. Go back and look at that trade. I mean, it was like a fleece.
Players were swapped both ways. There were multiple picks. And
Then
again,
they got rid of
you have the Walton family who just bought the team thinking that Russell Wilson would be this guy, and they found out he's not. And again, when I suggested who I thought for quarterback last year, when they drafted Bo Nix, and I suggested it, you got to look at Denver and you look at who that guy is. He wanted his Drew Brees. The closest comp that you could find for Drew Brees was Bo Nix. Simple, mechanical, not turnover prone. Those kind of things were there. And I think you found it. But
how tall is Bo Nix?
Damn, they said, wait a minute. They said 2 first rounders, 2 second rounders, a 5th rounder, 3
that's what I'm saying.
3 players in it.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. You're like, well, why did he? It's like because they didn't have any picks. they gave up a bunch of picks. Plus, Russell Wilson had like a guaranteed contract. I mean, I don't remember all of what it was. A big contract. So they were like, if we can get rid of this guy, if we will pay some of his contract for him to go away. Pittsburgh only paid him like $2 or $3 million. So like, cool, get him up out of here. We'll draft this kid here. So.
By the way, Nix is 6'2", 220.
Okay, well,
so he's slightly bigger than Drew Brees. He's basically slightly bigger because Drew Brees was what 6 foot, 6 foot and 212.
They say that. I don't think he's.
He was probably closer to 5'11", but
but
again, he's 6'2", like he's slightly taller than Drew Brees, but he has all the skill set and he has the mentality. He can see the field. He can do the things, and we saw that last year. Now, do we get that Bo Nix where he got to see the field at the end of the year, or do we see like in Houston where we have that sophomore slump where he gets, oh, now there's film on you and let's see. So then this is why I'm torn between the two guys. I'm torn between Hampton, or do I give him a Luther Burden to go with Courtland Sutton to help open up that offensive game? This is where I'm torn because Courtland Sutton needs a number 2, and our wide receiver room is getting a little thin. At least for my board, I've already had 3 wide receivers come off the board. I'm torn. Do I give this kid Luther Burden? And now I have another weapon for him on the opposite side of Courtland Sutton. And I can go get a running back with 51, and I can shuffle up the board if need be to go get one. I can move up 5 or 6 spots and still get the kid from Iowa. I can go grab Dylan Sampson from Tennessee. Those guys are still going to be there that mid to late second round. So I make you an offer. Do I go grab Luther Burden and then go grab like a Dylan Sampson in the second round? And all of a sudden now I have that 1-2 punch still with Dylan Sampson, who's kind of not quite James Cook, but it's that James Cook-esque player is the closest comp for Dylan Sampson is what a lot of people are saying. Like James Cook, his skill set is there. Not all of it, but some of it. So go look it up. I guarantee you.
What is Dylan Sampson? What is his dimensions? What's his dimensions?
I believe Dylan Sampson is 6'1" and some change. 1 second. The man is 5'8", 201. So he's a couple inches shorter than Cook. He's 2 inches shorter than Cook because I think Cook is listed at 5'10".
Maybe about 5 pounds heavier.
And Cook is about 5 to 7 pounds heavier. And his game is pretty much the same. He can run inside, but he also has the ability to break out and go. And he's got field speed, not track speed.
Okay.
He's got 4.5, 4.6, like late 4.5s, early 4.6. So he's got same as James. Like I said, the comp is James Cook-esque. Like I couldn't figure out another player that was close except for that. So I'm going to lean Luther Burden because I know that in the round, because we have a deep running back class here. Yes, is it better to have Omari and Hampton? Maybe, but I got to look at the whole offense. I got to look at the offense as a whole and go, you know what? I can't keep leaving Courtland Sutton out on an island and looking at the wide receiver class coming forward. I can't just leave him bare covered and going, maybe I'll draft Restrepo or something in the third round. Is your Oregon guy round to get good value for a wide receiver? I can't do that.
Is your Oregon guy from last year? Is there? Do you
Troy
think
Franklin? Troy Franklin. Yeah, I think that what bothered him was he had a really bad ankle injury at the end of camp, like right at the end of just before the season started.
Okay.
And then it led into a hamstring, and then it just kind of sputtered. And then you got to see him at the end of the year where he was just kind of getting the feel for it. I think having a full off season where he's not recovering from injuries and doing some other things, maybe we'll see a difference. But again, I think you're going to see him more as a slot guy than you will see him at a number 2 spot. He is a smaller kid, I believe. Troy Franklin is a little bit on the smaller side.
Yeah, he's more of a he's a speedster. He's more of a speedster. All right.
Yeah, he's 6'2", 181, but he is a small, like he's leaner, but he's got a little bit of length, but he's a quick, solid route runner. He's got crisp route running. Like he did phenomenal out here. He ran with Bo Nix. And again, there's options. You can wait and bring in a third round if you think that you're going to leave Troy as your 2. You can bring another familiar face in the 3rd or 4th round, even the 5th round if you can find him, and you grab Tez Johnson, another familiar face, also Bo Nix's non-biological brother. He's an adopted brother to Bo Nix. So there's that option. But I think I'm going to give him Luther Burden just because I know I want that number 2 guy. And I need to make sure that I can get something for what I'm paying out for.
Okay. All right. That's that's picks 11 through 20. We're gonna come back next Monday. Look, we're 11 days away from the draft. We're gonna wrap up the draft next Monday and put our last, 12 picks in. We'll go from 21 to 32 next week. And we'll wrap it up. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put my final draft after I see, because I think it's going to be some more screwy stuff going on before Thursday. I really do. I think it's going to be something. I think we're going to see something on there, and I'm going to do my final draft in the Alphabets Football Show group on Wednesday. I'm on final draft.
I think
make sure that y'all go to some people like either engine, pfn.com. That's where I go to now. Or you can go to pff.com. Go in there. It's really simple. Do it on your phone. You don't have to have a computer to do it. Go in there. It takes 5 minutes and get it done. Put your draft in. You can put it on Rise Up. You can put it in the Alphabets Football Show page and tag me. Tag Dre. Send it over to me. And whoever gets the most right in the first round, I'll send you an Alphabets Football Show Rise Up t-shirt, your team's favorite color. It's got the Rise Up logo on the sleeve. Will, I still owe you a shirt, by the way. Make sure that y'all come back Thursday. Rise Up radio show on Thursday, Dre? You didn't do one last week. Are you doing one this week? Okay. Make sure y'all tune in. Make sure y'all tune in on Thursday, Rise Up radio show. Make sure y'all tune in tomorrow. I usually start around 11 Eastern time. 11 a.m. Eastern time for Coffee Talk. Get up. We talk a little bit of football. We talk a little bit of life. All right. We've been here about 2 hours.
Hold tight.
Okay.
Before you go, Rise Up Unlimited Radio Show brought to you by WDAP Radio and WDAP TV. Thursday night, I will be talking NBA, WNBA, and we're going on a scroll patrol.
Okay. Make sure y'all do that, man. We appreciate everybody that comes through and showing love and support, man. I hope everybody has a great night. Make sure y'all tune in tomorrow morning and make sure that y'all supporting Dre I'll probably pop my head up in there talking all sports on Thursday. We've been kind of leaning on the draft because that's the season we're in now. Appreciate William Richter coming through. And just much love to everybody who shows support and comes through and comments and all of that. Okay. Everybody have a good night. See ya.